Hey y'all, it's Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and we have a lot to catch up on. So in the last few days, some of our animals have died. One of our prized animals almost died, and there's been a lot of life happening too. A lot of things have been born. Let's talk about pigs. We raise pork for ourselves and for other people. We sell it by the wholes and halves and by the retail cut. So that is one of our old spot boars. He is getting him a drink. Out in the pasture out there, there is 3 sows. There's another old spot boar. They're all old spots. And we have one more old spot sow as well. I'm gonna take you over here and show you. Not sure if she's gonna stick around. She just had piglets probably 3 weeks ago or so. Turned out to be a bit aggressive, which we do not like on our farm, which is pretty rare for old spots, but you just never know. This kind of looks growed up, and it kind of is, but it gives her some protection out there. She's got her babies out there. She's the only one out there. She's got a little pond. If I get a glimpse of her later in the video, I'll show you. So she has piglets right now, if you noticed, and then the 3 old spots in the pasture that I just showed you a minute ago, they do not have piglets right now. So they are bred to have some in a few months. We have 2 different sets of pigs. We have 6 sows. I'm gonna show you the final 2 over here in just a second. We have this one old spot, and then we have 2 Berkshire gilts, and I'm gonna show you them. They're kind of on one cycle, and then we have 3 more old spot mamas, which I showed you. They're out there with the boar. What we're trying to do is stagger, so we've got 2 different groups, and you can do all the math in the world that you want. Pigs are pregnant about 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days, so you might figure it perfectly and think I'm gonna get this many litters a year. We've been doing this a long time, and we get about 2 litters a year out of a sow. So we're trying to stagger it, these 2 different groups. We should be having piglets about every 3 months, which seems to be what's gonna work best for us. We're always willing to adapt and flex, but let me show you what happened in the last couple days around here. So that's sow number 1. You can see there's 11 alive. She lost 2 as she was having them. Let me show you sow number 2. So there is 9 of those. So there's 20 alive piglets. They both lost 2 as they were having them. It happens. Hate to say it like that and sound callous. I'm not, but it's just a fact of farm life. It does happen. So 20 in those 2 groups right there. I'm pumped about that. I mean, if we could get every mama to average 10, that would be so great. And then the old spot that I couldn't find over here for you, she's got 4 piglets. She lost 2 while she was having them. Not a great litter. We're just finding out more and more. We're really pleased with these Berkshires. And those, like I just mentioned, are Berkshire old spot crosses. We're hoping that's gonna give us about the best of both worlds. Our first ones of those, I'm gonna take you back to right now, are being raised out. They'll be going to the processor in December. Old spots have, they're a lard pig. They have a good amount of lard on them. Berkshires don't have as long of a frame, so they don't have as long of, you know, bellies for bacon and things. So we're hoping to kind of get the best of both worlds with these crosses, so we shall see. Maybe it's just me, but I have these random thoughts that, like, I drive these older trucks. The last one I was driving was really old. It was an 85, which I know you're like 85, but I'm not talking about being alive in 85. I'm talking about driving a vehicle from 85 that was still running. And so I don't know if that's why I think this, but like, do you ever just like think as you're doing stuff that these are the days people are going to look back in the future and think of as like the good old days? Like, these are going to be old times. It's just weird to me to think that like we're living what's going to be someone else's old times. Not weird. So these are the first old spot Berkshire crosses that we raised. They're hungry, obviously, so I'm going to get them fed. I'm feeding these guys 6 pounds per pig per day. That's what we work up to, and that's what we feed our pigs, and it works really well. why mess with something that's not broken? So we're gonna get them fed. So fun fact, pigs were our first homestead animal here at VW Family Farm. We have always lived in the country, so we had a few cows, we've had a horse here and there, different things, but when I say when we started our homestead, that was 2012, when we intentionally knew we were getting these to try to raise more of our own food and try to live a more sustainable lifestyle. But this is where it all began, with pigs, because there's a lot of people who want clean pork, but not a lot of people who want to or can raise pigs. So that's my shout out for you. They're not a bad animal to start your farm or homestead with. A lot of people say, don't start with pigs. That's probably because they didn't have a good experience with pigs. Maybe they didn't do it and weren't prepared when they got their pigs. Maybe they jumped the gun. That is something. You do need to do the homework and don't take shortcuts. Build a really good pen, put up hot wire, get them trained before you just turn pigs out into a pen. So I would have to ask Ben. He used to say that pigs were his favorite animal on the farm. Mine has, and I think always will be, cows. So we're gonna move back to the cows next. Before we completely leave the pigs, right now I just added it up in my head. We have 46 pigs on our farm. We started with 3. So it's just kind of grown from there. It's become a really, really great thing for us on our farm and homestead. It's brought in bits of income here and there that allowed us to build on that and reinvest that and do other things. It truly is where it all started for us. So right now we have about 114 head of cattle. That is mama cows. We're raising up our own calves for beef. I'll explain that to you as I show you the different groups. Bulls, my milk cows. So if you're going to take cows and raise mama, and they call it cow-calf pair operations, meaning you're raising a cow and a calf, you're raising pairs, and you're gonna keep those and raise them up for beef, you have got some things to consider, which is what we're doing. You're gonna have to have multiple pens because you're gonna have those calves long enough. You're not just gonna take them off the moms and haul them to the sale and be done with it. You're gonna have to have somewhere to wean them and put them that's gonna keep them away from their mom, because at that time, ideally, the mama cow is pregnant again, and so you've got to give her a break. They cannot be getting back to their mom taking that colostrum or first rich milk from their future brother or sister, if that makes sense. You also have to have a place when you pull your bulls out of your herd, which you're gonna wanna do. Even if you run bulls all the time, there's certain times of the year you're most likely not gonna want your cows calving. Now, there may be some people that are like, yeah, I run them all year long. Ideally, they're already bred at that point, but I just don't see how that is gonna always work out, but to each their own. So ideally, you're gonna need a pen for your bulls. If you're like us and you have a couple of milk cows, you're gonna also need somewhere for them to be, probably up closer to your house. So let me kind of just explain to you what we have going on. So this first group, I'm gonna turn the truck off and get out and explain it to you guys. This is our steer pen. There is, I'm trying to think if there's any heifers. I think there is a couple heifers in here. That is because they are at the age that we either need to decide they're gonna be processed before they get to an age that we wouldn't process them, or if we're gonna keep and give them more chances to calve. So these have had ample chances to calve at this point. There either is something we don't like about them, like their body structure. We don't think they're gonna make a good mama cow, or what have you. That would be the only reason that a heifer would get culled into our butcher pen, for lack of a better word. Most of the heifers in our operation are going to remain here on our farm and grow up and be future herd cows. That is what's going on in America right now. If you've seen beef prices rise, and let me tell you guys, they're going to continue to rise. That's either going to push people to eat other meats, or I feel like even if people choose to do that because there's less beef to be had, if they choose to start eating more pork or chicken or whatever the case may be, then those types of meat are going to increase, because now you're going to have more demand, less supply on those types. So it's just kind of a catch-all. Groceries are going up, and it doesn't look, I hate to be Debbie Downer, I'm just trying to give you a real forecast. It doesn't look like it's going to change in the near future. The weather has a lot to do with that. There's been major weather episodes, droughts and all kinds of things out west where a lot of America's beef is raised. And that forced people to start selling. That forced people to start getting rid of animals because they didn't have anything to feed them. Flooded the market, and so the prices kind of dipped down because everyone was selling. Well, now that there's all these less numbers of cattle, the prices have went way sky high. So now people are selling their heifers into the market to become beef because the prices are so high. They feel foolish to keep them. So now we've not only impacted, we've butchered a lot of our cows last year, now we're butchering our heifers because the prices are so high. So it's going to take years to recover from this. That's what, I'm not saying this is what experts in the beef industry are saying, because it takes a heifer 2 years to even have her first calf. So even if we started right today, which people are not doing yet, keeping heifers, it would take us 2 years to recover. So you see, that's not even happening yet. So that's why prices are high. We're trying not to do that. We're banking on the future instead of, you know, an instant gratification, which, let me tell you, when you've got bills to pay, it is tempting to haul everything you have to the sale and get good money for it and be done. But we're banking on building something long-term and sustainable, feeding people quality meat that maybe isn't quite as sky high as what the store might become. This is our main pen of mama cows. There's 36 in here, along with 27 babies. Okay, we've got one more pen of cows to check, and that's last year's calves. I came back because we do feed these a little bit twice a week. One, we want to get them used to coming up when we call them. Two, they need a little help getting their rumen going when they're eating on their own away from mom. So that's what I came back to the house to do, because they're actually at a different farm, still our farm, but our farm is kind of in different little sections, different farm. Came back to get the feed. This old spot mama that I told you is a little aggressive is up here eating, so I want to show her to you. Bite my camera? Don't bite my camera. I actually have a feeling she's probably not going to be staying. I found her babies. They're not that little anymore. One of them's sunbathing. One of them's looking at you. I don't know if y'all could hear her. She bit that gate. She did not even like me standing there. So I'm on my way over to the Wean Steers and heifers. These were either born in the spring of 22 or fall of 22. So then you can see all that cleared land. That is something that Ben has been working diligently for several years, trying to get someone to come in and log that. But if there's not just lots of desirable wood, it's hard to get a logger to do that. We weren't looking to make money. We were just hoping we could avoid spending a ton to get it logged, because I'm trying to open this gate before these cows come and get out. So excuse me for the terrible camera work. So we got it logged, then we were able to get a bulldozer operator to come in and pile it up. So when we're able, we'll have to burn those. If you see a fire from here in Arkansas to, say, California, you'll know that's us burning those huge piles. What's up? So this is the future. This is 34 either animals for our processing for our beef operation, or heifers to go back into our herd, which we desperately need. When we bought our herd of cattle, we had just a few, and then early 2019 we bought a head of 60 mama cows. And you can see now, I just told you there's 36 in the group at the house. Now, there's a big chunk of these, I think there's 23 of these maybe, that are heifers over here. Because part of that group that I showed you with the bulls that are animals to be processed at the house are steers that came from over here. So there's some steers left here, but there's a lot of heifers too. So if you take that 36 and 23 and add it together, then we're back up to what, 59, something like that. So we're getting back up there, but if we go sell all these, we're not making any progress. The reason our numbers have dwindled so far down is because that herd we bought was older cows, and so they've either, you know, had to be sold, butchered into ground beef, or they've died, or whatever the case may be. And so that's just where we find ourselves. Cows get old and you have to continuously be replacing them, and that's something we haven't done until now. And so here we are. But don't let me fool you. It's a little tempting to go sell them all, because it's nothing for, you know, steers this size to be bringing, I don't know, $1,500, closer to $2,000 each. And there's 34 of these, so you can do the math. That's a lot of money. There's a lot of money involved. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about, but there's a lot of money involved also if you can hold on and weather the storm, because there will be people wanting animals when they do decide to build their herds back up. And we would like to be in a position at that point to be having calves for beef or for replacement heifers for people. So anyway, it's a long game. You can play it as a short game or a long game, and we're trying to play it as a long game. So that's where we are. So that is the cows, except for these last 4 I want to show you. 2 of them are up here. And they're in milk right now. They both have babies. You can see both the babies milling around. This is Butter. She came here. She was my first milk cow. Her name was Mama Cow. And she came with her when they came. That was her baby. Butter is a beautiful Jersey. She just gave birth to twins like a month ago. Sadly, there's lots of, you know, difficulties when you have twins. I'm sure everyone out there is going to have heard a success story, but for every success story with twins, there's always several that were not successes, and we've had hard times on our farm with twins. Sadly, she lost the boy the first day. He just, I guess, was weak from the get-go, and so that's her heifer out there about to get a drink. Another fact is that when a cow has twins, and if one's a boy and one's a girl, most likely the girl is going to be what's called a free martin, meaning she is sterile, she won't breed. So that little heifer will probably go into the meat program here. And then Josie, she's walking away. You can see her back there. She's got a cute little bull calf, and so she is actually, Josie is one of my favorite cows ever. She's just so calm, she's so sweet, but she's a good mama. But she is actually, if you've been around here a while, she is actually Miracle's mom. Miracle has her own playlist on this channel. You can look that up. But Josie is Miracle's mom. And so, of course, my third milk cow is Miracle. Miracle's dry right now. I've been milking her until a couple of months ago. She's due to calve again in December. So giving her a several month break, which is just always a good idea. So my camera died. I'm back out here to finish up the chores, and I wanted to share with you a couple things that have happened in the last week that could have been a lot worse than they were. So you can see the horse pen is kind of out in front of our house. In fact, all I did was whistle at the girl, and she's looking. She'll probably come up here in a minute. Anyway, this horse pen, and it's where my milk cows are and all that, wraps around the house. Sunday night, it was raining. Well, what was a day off, lazy afternoon, turned disastrous really quickly. Pepper has a collar that she wears that shocks her if she gets outside of a certain boundary. Well, the battery's been dead on it for a while, and we were trying to find some, couldn't find them to order. And she's just really trained to that border, and she's never offered to go out of it even when she had the thing on and it was working perfectly. She doesn't even like when it like beeps and warns her. So, and on top of that, she doesn't like to get off the porch when it's raining, especially. She will actually use the bathroom on the porch, which is fine. It's outside and I can spray it off with water. I'd much rather her do that than in the house. So I specifically said, Pepper, you're not going to go anywhere, are you? And Ben was in the kitchen and overheard me, and he said, she's not going to get off that porch. So we were in agreement that she was probably going to go out, go to the bathroom, come right back in. And she literally, I don't know how else to say it, she lost her mind for a minute, decided she could take on the horse, started chasing the horse in the rain, and she came right at Pepper, and the horse pummeled at her and just rolled her up and pawed her. And Ben actually screamed. He said, she's dead. She just killed Pepper. So I come running, and Ben is taking off in the rain, no shoes on. Pepper's laying there awkwardly, not moving. She looks dead. We're convinced she's dead. He gets out to her, and she gets up and bolts and runs back in the house. And come to find out, she was unconscious. And it was bad. There was blood coming out of her nose, and she was huffing, and blood would just spray, and it looked like it was probably, we were afraid she was filling up with blood inside, because she was like huffing just over and over, and her, really concerning, her pupils were 2 different sizes. We didn't know what else to do, so we called our daughter-in-law, future daughter-in-law, who's going to school to be a vet. She said, find an emergency vet and go right now. An expensive AAA, which I'm not complaining because I'm super thankful for emergency vets. They're there at times no one else wants to be. But she has a head injury. She has at least 1, maybe 2 broken bones on the top of her head, which I guess those will just heal. I mean, I don't know what they do for bones on a dog's head. They gave her multiple shots, and they said definitely she had a brain injury, basically. They were most concerned about the pupils being different sizes. They weren't concerned about the blood. They said it was likely just from the hit in the head. It just made her nose bleed. It wasn't coming from her lungs or anything. But, so we've been doctoring a sick pup for almost a week. Really thought we'd lost her that time, but thankfully she is going to be okay. You will be seeing Pepper, the farm dog, again. She is not out here right now because she would be going crazy. The horses are right here. A lot of people commented, I put it on Facebook and said, oh, she'll never do that again. Well, she was barking at them the very next day. So, yeah, I think it's just in her blood. She's from working bloodlines. I have full confidence, given the chance, she'll do it again. But believe me, she won't be given the chance again. So, you think you can trust them, but they're still animals, and you still have to watch out and make sure they're making good decisions. So, that one's on us. Felt really, really bad about it, but she literally lost her mind for a minute and showed no signs that that was coming. So just one of them things. Lesson learned for us. I don't know about for her, but for us for sure. So we have 2 different groups of chickens. In this group, Emily raised some 4-H chicks, and so these are white leghorns. They're good layers. Trying to see if I can show you any. They're gonna only be hens, and they have yellow legs. We also have some in here that have the blue legs. Those are the American breast meat chickens. That's the direction we're moving on the meat chickens. Gonna try those out. Trying to get a flock of layers. So we have several of those hens, and we have a few of those roosters, just until we figure out, you know, we want to make sure we didn't want to just keep one rooster. Sorry, I don't even think I was in the camera, but we didn't want to just keep one rooster and have all our eggs in one basket, if you will. So anyway, I'm going to show you the American breasts have the purple legs, and then I'm going to take you out and show you what happened with our other set of chickens, which is where the action's been happening. And both sets of chickens in here are laying eggs. And we've only had these American breasts. I mean, they're not super old. It didn't take them, I don't think, any longer than our laying hens to start laying eggs. And so they really are looking like they're gonna be a pretty good dual purpose bird. So now we're at our final stop on this video. We're out at our other chicken pen. This is our hens we've had a long time. Just a good variety of all the breeds I want. They lay really beautiful, colorful eggs. They're just the OG chicken crew around here. But right behind you guys, there is a dead, big, beautiful Dominicker rooster. And we also have had something eating our eggs out here and leaving the shells. And so we just, through a course of, we've seen footprints, things like that, we determine it is a varmint. And by varmint, I mean raccoon, possum, something of that nature. So after the rooster, I could deal with it getting the eggs. We were taking some measures to try to remedy the problem, figure out what it was. But after it killed the rooster, that was the final straw. So that is, that's what you see on the thumbnail. Ben actually set a...
Eating all of our eggs. Finally caught it. Coming out every day. And the eggs, which I put some in here with as a bait with marshmallow. Down there I used a little bit of dog food, marshmallow, and some trapping bait lure that I've had. Actually got 2 that we can keep. Caught the little varmint. Caught you in the act. Not only eating our eggs, it killed our Dominick rooster. So this thing's got to be put down. Sometimes we will relocate them, but I feel like this one's going to come right back.
Live trap and caught it, and I don't know, for lack of a better word, disposed of it, dispatched it. I don't even want to mislead you that we relocated or something. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think he caught the only one, because something's turned over the live trap and there's no eggs out here, and so that's pretty rare. So this is going to be an ongoing battle, I'm thinking. So I'm going to feed these girls and go let Ben know what's going on, that we're going to have to redouble our efforts. You might be like, well, possums need to eat too. He caught a possum. I don't know if I said that part. And while I understand what you're saying, I'm not buying expensive feed formulated for my laying hens to feed a possum that's then going to eat my eggs. So I'm just not. So that's just how it is. All right, well, I was hoping to come out here and harvest some eggs after we had, I thought, remedied this problem, but I'll just have to say, to be continued. I'll keep you posted on this problem, and hopefully we will win this war. We've lost this battle, but maybe we'll win the war. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, and God bless.